Domino, I don't really want to be here anymore.
Huh? Why?
This place is supposed to be a place of comfort, a sanctuary. There's too many people here and I don't really feel safe. I want to go back to how we originally were living. I get it was bad, but it's probably better than here because we're not surrounded by people. Well, as much, but there's just too many people in this house and I don't know whether or not I can trust them or anything. Like, what if they just come out and attack randomly?
Look, I promise you that's never gonna happen. Everybody here is on everybody's side. We're all allies to each other. We're pretty much an alliance, but that's a story for another day because there's a lot deeper things that are going on than you think. But I completely understand where you're coming from. But I'm telling you, there are people here we can trust more now than everybody else that we've ever trusted. Have gotten into messy situations, but I promise you that nothing bad is going to happen here. Not as long as Shadow Freddy's under the authority. Or just any of the Fazbears in general. Look at me, Cody.
Are you sure about all this? I mean, I've only heard stories. Stories aren't always true, and I really don't know what to believe at this point because I've heard multiple stories and they were different each time. Do you really think we're actually safe here? Or is that what they're wanting us to believe?
Kid, I promise you, nothing bad's gonna happen to us as long as we're here and not out to where we used to live. We're safe now, I promise you, seriously. You gotta trust me on this.
Do you know how many times I've trusted you on something and you're always wrong?
Yes, I understand that. But you have to trust me 100% now. Nothing bad's going to happen.
Something bad always happens, Domino. You can't keep telling yourself that. Look, I was totally open to moving in here, but now I don't really trust it all anymore. All you've done was give me false hope. Oh, we're safe here. We almost got shot. We're safe here. We got knocked over the head with a baseball bat and woke up tied up in someone's basement. We were only saved because I was able to roar for help loud enough, even with something over my face covered. There are so many things that I could bring up that you don't even probably remember. But I've tried telling me that we're gonna be safe no matter what happens. I'm tired of this, Domino. I want to be in a place where I can be 100% safe that I know of. There is nowhere we've ever been that's been safe.
Shh, calm down.
Do not tell me to calm down. You're not even listening to me anymore. It's not like you even care. All you do is lay around, eat up on people's food, and make me travel wherever you go. We're always ending up in dangerous situations and in dangerous places. Where are the safe zones, for crap's sake? Screw this, I'm out of here.
Hey, Cody, come back. You should probably give the kid some space. I don't even know what to do anymore, Shadow Freddy. Most of the stuff he's right about. How can we even be too sure that we're safe here? Like 100% safe here, no worries. Not a single moment in our life have we ever been safe. The only time we've ever been safe was when I first found him. I found him, took him in as my own, and then we hid away. It was maybe a year or two. We were safe there for so long. Food, shelter, toiletries, roof over our head. It can't really get any better than that, can it? It wasn't really ideal, but we had everything to survive there. And then we were chased out by a gang that decided they wanted to take over, spray paint everything, and claim that place is theirs. And ever since then, we were trying to find somewhere to stay. But nowhere it was safe. We'd always end up in situations where it was life or death. We had to take many risks, Shadow Freddy, and I don't really think you understand that. I found him when he was small. And even with him still being as small as he was pretty big for a lion. He's been growing ever since. I just don't know how much bigger he's gonna get. And, he may be big, but he's pretty helpless on his own. I don't know how much bigger it is he's going to get before, he becomes an adult. And, the place that we lived here before this, we were sleeping in an alleyway, eating out of garbage. Because some people like to waste their food. It's really good on us, but at the same time, it's bad because, homeless. I thank you very much, but we've been through so much together, Shadow Freddy. Can you please at least reassure us, of the truth about this place? Is it really safe? I want to have a forever home where we can all be safe. Is it? Domino, if it wasn't safe, I wouldn't be having you living here. Look, I couldn't come to you sooner and you went through all them issues, but all is fine now. Seriously. If the kid wants to worry, let him. He's got his reasons for it. And you should too, because you both have been in the same situations together. And I know 100% you fully trust me. Well, yeah, I know. I've been around long enough to understand all this. Just you being the god of this world, the one who created it, creating, fixing problems, stuff to do with Remnant, different breeds of animals, just all sorts of stuff, Shadow Freddy. Even, the story with you being immortal and stuff, but not actually being a shadowy bear. I heard, well, you were human at one point, obviously. And obviously there's way much more to it, but I understand all of it perfectly fine. It's just Cody, he's pretty much underdeveloped and, well, do not even stubborn to understand as of right now. Yes, I know that. But like I'm saying, just give him time. He'll be able to see that his place is a lot safer than everywhere else. He'll be able to understand the stories behind everything, just as everybody else is working on to doing, and will do. But all I'm gonna say now is just give him space for now, and when he finally wants to go manage to talk to you, talk things through to him, drop to his level for a second, talk in a way that he's gonna understand, that'll convince him to keep him staying here with you. And, just let him know that this place is safe, and he doesn't need to be reassured of that anymore, because it's 100% true this time. Unlike all the other times you told him that, well, you were going to be safe, and, it wasn't. Because, you weren't sure, but this time you're actually 100% sure. Yeah, right. I'll take your advice, Shadow Freddy, but real question, where are all the wolf huskies? Or husky wolves, whatever you want to call them. Well, they're probably busy or sleeping right now, so there's Blizzard, there's Prince, there's Baltic. Pretty sure there's a couple more, but I don't really keep up with it, and I don't really got time to talk about this right now. But since you ask, which one were you looking for in specific? Woo! Ugh. Okay, me landing as how I did was not how I planned it for it to be. But anyways, I'm pretty sure he's looking for me in specific. Well, speaking of who, Baltic. Long time no see, Domino. Wait, so, we're distant cousins, right? Well, I know you're way older than me. I mean, old enough to have a kid, so I don't really know how far this family bloodline goes. Yeah, I'm your distant cousin. Very distant cousin. Alright, hold on. I probably should have clarified this to all of you. First encounterments or last encounterments or, whatever. But you do realize none of you distant, right? In fact, everyone is related all together. This whole wolf thing, you were all a pack. You're only labeled as distant because, well, the pack was split up into many different groups. Some people were abandoned and some people were put together in pairs. But besides that point, nobody is distant. Wait, what? Nobody told us from the start? Wait, you knew this all along, Shadow Freddy? Nobody ever told me this. You're telling me that we were all just a pack, and the reason why we're called distant family is because, well, we were split up? Yeah, but it's a long-ass story, and I can't really explain right now. I'll explain it to you guys later. Okay then. Well, I'm gonna go hang back out with Frederick. If you need me, Domino, or, you need anybody else in here, just look for my dorm room. Not really that hard to figure out. Anyways, deuces. Alright? Okay then. Well, there's a lot that needs to be explained, but I guess it can wait. Yeah, right. You should probably head on now. I'm about to deliver my speech. Ah, okay. Cool. Wait, so you're telling me some members of the wolf pack were abandoned? Everyone was a pack, but some people were separated off into groups? Yeah. And, some were abandoned or split off into pairs besides groups. I'll call up a meeting later, and all the wolves that, aren't here that could possibly listen in on things that don't really understand what happened or really why things are the way they are, or, why everybody split up. I'm gonna just explain the story. But seriously though, run along now, because you and Baltic are the only ones that know this. You might never be able to figure out how to reunite with your family ever again. Maybe some, but not a lot, but there's a lot you all need to know, as wolves together. And the reason why we all brought back here, together in the Fazbear house. There's just deep spiritual shit that, well, connects to all this. You know the story of Shiva, right? And the prophecy that's written down? Oh, yeah, I know. Let me guess. Everybody in here knows it? Nope, not really. That's why things are gonna need to explain later on. Okay, seriously, run along now. Alright, whatever you say, Shadow Freddy. Yep. Attention all Fazbears. I'm going to be speaking in third person, but this is Shadow Freddy speaking to you through the telepathic waves, continuing on to give you information that you need to know, whether it makes sense or not. This is about William Afton. All throughout Afton's life, he's felt like he's been trapped in a cage like a zoo animal. His parents were abusive, his family was toxic, and with his stress from life in general piling up with that as well, it made him mentally ill. He wanted control of what would go on throughout his life, but nothing ever went his way, and it made him feel like he was trapped. After many attempts to trying to leave home and be free, he finally managed to make it out there. And even though he was free from all that, he still felt like he had no control, and that he was being held down by a boulder. And in all seriousness, it caused him to go insane. He couldn't keep it together. He went to college and did everything all on his own, but with all that trauma and guilt that had been burdened to him, nothing seemed to help for the way he felt. He started getting really violent and made an attempt to stop that. After trying to fix and how he lived his life, he later on got married, had some kids, and even made a lifelong best friend that he'd gotten help to start a business with to help him feel in more control. He wanted to control life. Him and his buddy made many robot creations, and throughout many experimentations, he realized that he could break the limits through a powerful source. This stuff was known as Remnant. After making the discovery of this substance and realizing what he could do with this stuff, it made him break away from sanity completely and give life to unlifeless things, feeling like he could control the world and how it worked. You could probably see to where that led. He breaks the frustration, goes on to a killing spree, and somehow gains more power through his pride and agony from people who'd fall into his grasp and lead to death. He creates animatronics for that purpose, to make killing and the control on how he wanted life to be manually possible. He accidentally ends up killing off his own family. He tried warning them without letting them know of what he was up to, and from the start, and they still ended up dead. He had fallen to grief and used up so much of his power trying to bring his family back, but the only way for him not to drain out all his power, he had the chance to only bring back one child. He brought back the youngest of his family, Evan Afton, aka me. Oh, and by the way, one time, if you remember, he put a brainworm inside of Springtrap and inside of Circus Baby, and he wanted to make himself and to make them believe that they were his kids, Michael and Elizabeth. And somebody had to play things off and knock them back to their senses and make them believe that they were set free. So, that's fun. But anyways, he brought back Evan Afton, his youngest child, and accidentally made him take the form of what killed him off, but with a powerful / spiritual / shadowy-like tone, meaning that he broke off most of his power and gave it to him. And by the way, I was killed by Fredbear. It was one of the animatronics long ago, at one of his establishments. My frontal lobe was bitten off. Long story again, but you really don't need to know that. Anyway, speaking in third person, the son was greatly upset to what his father had been doing, and for what he had done to him, and all would fall victim to him for when he finally found out of his father's doings. And when the moment he learned how to control his power and form, being the shadowy bear he was, he decided to come up with a plan and fix the mess his dad made, and to rebirth the world in something better. Not only that, he also made friends with the spirits of his father's victims. After learning so much, he decided of what he was going to do, and he had given his father hallucinations to get him into his head, and to trap him away, believing to kill him so the spirits could rest on it, his dad could finally pay for his actions. After a tenth, he sucked out the power from his father, and went on to roam the world. Then realizing the victims had never passed on. After years had passed, his father had returned and was still alive, but stuffed away inside of an animatronic suit just rotting away. Not only that, the first thing his father did was use up a little bit of his power he had left and went on killing people, just to absorb the magical source that had been given power from them. He was not going to tolerate that, so what he did was focused and charged up all his powers and went on a worldwide search of his father's victims' spirits. After gathering them all up, he made the discovery of the power that they had and he had. Decided to make all of their souls divided up into many pieces in order to gain extra amounts of power. After he did that, he had to figure out a way to get them to attack on his father, and to make him pay for all of this, and so he could create the world into something new. And with a blink of an eye, he created thousands of animatronics and had stowed many of the divided souls amongst every single one of them. When he managed to do all that, he decided to plan an attack on his dad, and to reincarnate the divided souls into anything they took form of, or animal humanoid creatures, and for when he decided to rebirth the world. As soon as he got all of them to attack his father, he created a hallucination toward his father, and made him believe that he had gotten into a fight over power with his son. And while that had happened, his son went on combining all the powers of lost souls with the power along beside it, aka his, and went on absorbing the power of his father's. And with that being said, all that power being compacted all into one place, it caused a breakage to the sound and light barrier, and the space-time continuum had ruptured. Oh, and by the way, this was when Evan had realized he could finally recreate the entire universe and recreate every living creature, plus the lost souls, plus create a new timeline to everything that had go on throughout history, to which he did. And after doing that, he had spread every amount of power to every living creature throughout the world, and to whoever generations that had come ahead, the powers of them before would be passed on to them. Due to the fact that not all of the power could fit in through every living being, he decided to compress all that power, then shaping it into a biohazardous-like compound, then hiding it away in a deep cave in a place in Romania on planet Earth. After all was going good, and life had been perfectly balanced, many years later, a priest woman who had been going through grief, death towards family, had ended up running into that cave, looking to die there. She accidentally touched the compound and had been infected/given power, plus the knowledge of its many uses, aka the remnant she found. Then as throughout time passed on, she experimented with this substance and tried to find ways to bring her family back. Only problem was that she couldn't do that without any sorts of organism, plus her DNA combined with it, and the substance as well. She made many attempts, but has failed many times, each time. After one day out of the blue, even after he was supposed to die and be non-existent, he had spawned into a hole in the ground far in Romania and crawled out of it all week with only tiny bits of power he had left within him. He managed to observe the world around him and noticed that there had been many different creatures around, and it helped him to take the realization that he was still alive. All he wanted to do at that point was to regain his energy, to go back to regaining control of everything he had no control over due to the fact of his raging mental illness. After wandering around, he decided to take shelter into the same cave that the priest woman had wandered into and accidentally took an observation to the powerful substance, then regaining the power feeling he once had. Powerful. As soon as he discovered what that substance did, he wanted to experiment on it and learn what it could be used for. He then went on throughout the village in Romania and searched for objects and sources to help him better with this so-called experiment. After exploring, he ran into that priest and got into a private conversation on this substance. Then, before you knew it, they became close and decided to work as partners toward each other to experiment/work with this substance. After doing that for so long, they decided to test this goop on living organisms and combine them together, then using animals and people as living subjects to see what types of things they could do with this stuff. After a while, they both made a deal and discovered a great power this stuff had given them. They both worked together on achieving their goal of bringing their family back, and to gain the power over everything and everyone. After once had failed with the woman once again, after many times for failing, she decided that she would grant Afton with subjects that had been infected with the mind-controlling organism that had created throughout this substance that they had been experimenting on. As time went on, subjects weren't really much use to him. They would tamper with different species of human and animals to create new hybrid-like creatures that could just roam around on Earth and live their life only knowing of how they were experimented on, but to forget the face of who they were experimented by. Then as time would go by, Afton would slowly start to make the discovery of the creatures who had taken shape of his past, now living on Earth with the power he once had. After learning of many things throughout life, he decided to continue his plan of control, and to cut out the creatures who had taken shape of his past, plus mess with their lives, plus control how they live, and to gain the power back he once stole that, belonged to him, but they stole from him, kinda in a way, but, Fazbear's, everyone else. Not only that, he'd take all his anger out through them by hiding away in the shadows, for most of the time laughing and letting them to be confused on everything that has ever went on throughout their lives by warping their sense of mind and memory /living/thought process. All that was thanks to figuring out how to work the substance he found in the cave and learning how to do things with it that made him feel like he was in control. Meanwhile of him doing that, his son had been hiding away, just all from the start, as soon as he spawned in, letting his father do dirty work and just letting him come up with a plan to fix everything once again, then to destroy him. When his father had learned of his existence, he popped into his head and kept him distracted into still believing he had control of everything, as in Afton, believing he had control of everything and not, his son, who created this world. And while that went on, he slowly entered the life of the Fazbears, trying to inform them of the truth. Talking about me, as, Afton had slowly been making it confusing, which probably made it even more confusing having the truth and confusing stuff going on. Anyways, after many years of all of this and that, and this mess continued on, Afton had made a plan knowing his son was going to destroy him eventually, and with all that being said, he was still using this ooze substance for his daily life and trying to take control. And, he was killed off right then and there with a plan to send out 4 of his different experimentations from 4 years ago. Or from many, many years ago. And another thing, the priest woman was killed off in secret by someone, but we're not going to say who. Oh wait, it was me. And what he wanted them to do was to mess with the Fazbears, throw out many different infectious creatures that had been mixed with their blood to be created in stealth mode and to avenge his name. Afton, we're talking about, by the way. And to kill them all for good. Then, after doing that, to try bringing him back. Talking about the Forelords bringing Afton back to life. Because, he had a thing planned out, but that's not going to happen. Like I was saying, though, not only was all that a fail, but Evan, aka me, had finally managed to get the truth out. Which, not completely, but that will happen in the end. Just to fix all of this mess that Father had created. And to get almost everyone throughout time to call themselves from any worries, so all good can resurface back into their lives and make sense, and so we could refresh everyone's memories of how their life truly went, not for all it had seen. I hope all of that made sense. If not, just take the time and let the memory repeat back into your head as I spoke to you. Process it very slowly because I speak fast and I might stutter sometimes. In the meantime, though, this is Shadow Freddy signing off. There are more people to be moving into the Fazbear house. Just letting you know that now.
Ugh. Does this mean Adora's coming? Who's Adora? Someone I get to kill?
First off, Adora isn't showing up yet. I told you, be patient. I'll let you know when she pops in. Or the time that she will, so you can pop out of here. Second off, County, I don't know what you're up to, but go take your mischief somewhere else. You were created to stop evil or bad coming into this house. You're one of the authorities, remember? And not only that, you're supposed to be giving Funtime Freddy company. So please, go do that.
Fine! Are you serious? I've been waiting so long.
Catcher, for the multiple time, I know this already. I told you, just wait. There's stuff that needs to get done. I promise you, she will be here soon. Go to your room. Or do something else besides sitting around here. Because I got something to do.
Please, what's that?
Huh? What's what?
I am the nightmare.
What the? Nightmare? I didn't even call Candy Kid out here. Nor did I have even bring you in and paperize you. What the heck? That's 'cause Candy Cadet wasn't a part of this situation. It was all me, Shadow Freddy. And I'm just here to remind you that you have actions that have major consequences. Very, very bad consequences. Oh, please. I don't know in what world you thought it was okay to be teleporting in like this, old man. But the only thing you can really do here is move in. Don't tell me that my actions have consequences. Because I already know the consequences of everything. Whether they're big or small. But in all seriousness, what are you doing here? I'm here to move in, sonny boy. And by the way, I tampered with Candy Cadet through the spiritual realm. You already know where I'm from. And I decided to paper the both of us. Well, actually, I took a piece of you and created it. And made it paperized. Nightmare might seem like a different person, but it's all part of you, man. We're both going to be moving in, so I'm going to be letting you know of your consequences. And when the right time comes, I will set your soul free. Just know that. But right now, we're all going to be stuck here at the Fazbear house, so you can deal with Nightmare. Figure out why I brought him here in the first place. Even though he doesn't live here, or even though you don't live here. Later.
I think I'm gonna go now. Because he's not the only paperized person here. And I don't plan on sticking around to figure out why he's even here in the first place, or even that guy is. So, bye.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, Nightmare, what is it you're doing here?
Oh, come on. Is that answer not too obvious for you, or are you just dumb?
No, seriously, I was kind of planning out for you to be moving in here anyways, and you being paperized. But I didn't really expect old man to be taking care of that, or him to be even showing up. I created that guy to help set souls free that had nothing to do with me at all. So, what's going on?
I'm literally a visual representation of your past. The past life that no longer exists, but still remains to haunt you. The real question you should be asking is why you're still here. Your dad has done so much horrible things in his life. He's the reason you're even seeing me, or why I was even created a picture in your head in the first place. Why do you still stick around? Even though he's stuck in another realm, suffering immense amounts of pain, you still decide to stick around to try making things right. There's nothing left. You need to let go. Let life continue on. Have you ever thought that maybe fixing things is only destroying them worse? Someone would have eventually found your father and made the complete discovery of how he was even alive still. They would have found a way to kill him off. And if they went into a deeper investigation, those spirits would have been set free. But look at us now. You're here. After all these years. It's like you can't move on from the past. It's still haunting you to this day. And by the way, you're not the one who created that old man consequences guy. He was already an entity within the space-time continuum. He helped souls to pass on. You created a version of him you wanted to see, and so that made you not understand the real truth of why he was even brought in to this world. He's been waiting for the right time to help your soul to pass on, even though the right time was so long ago. Your past haunts you very, very much, and I'm here to remind you that all this is okay. It will be over soon, just like you have planned. All them souls I went to rest on, but when you created them into something new and reincarnated them, it threw out more problems and made things worse than they needed to be. That's why your father spawned in. You already knew all this was gonna happen in the first place. But here you are. Why do you continue to let your past haunt you? You need to let go.
It's not my past that's haunting me, it's the memories, Nightmare. And you know what it's looking like to me? You're trying to remind me of those memories, so I can finally confront them and get over them. So I can finally pass on. And maybe reincarnated as well. That would put peace into the world, wouldn't it? That would put peace into the world, wouldn't it? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Indeed. But I mean, obviously you have too much problems on your hands. So you know what? Old man is gonna give you a chance. Take care of those problems. And when the She-Ra comes in to fix all of this, your time will be up. You may have created this world, but you were never put at peace. You've gone through trying to fix so much things. And the one last thing that needs to be fixed is you.
I understand that. But you know, if I wanted or needed to pass on, I would have done it by now. You don't get to choose my fate.
Maybe I don't, but old man consequences gets to.
Okay, fine, but I'm not going to remove myself within the world just to create peace. There's only one way of peace, and it's my way. I'll take care of things my own way. I don't need anybody else's assistance. You both were brought into my world, so that means you get to live the way I want you to. Nobody chooses my fate. I am Evan Afton's Shadow Freddy. I've been through so much, just as everyone else has. I have made so many plans to make the world a better place, even if my dad was involved. He was the one thing that needed to be get rid of, because all he's ever done was cause chaos. You gotta understand, just because every action of mine has a consequence, doesn't mean things gotta happen the way they do. Quit getting involved. You know, just head on and find a room. I'm gonna teleport home. I got other stuff to take care of, especially as soon as I'm gone, and when I return back, later.
Boy, oh boy, Evan sure was always a stubborn child. Even I myself can see that. Hopefully one day he'll understand.